The Federal Parliament has been rendered ineffective for almost 3 weeks now as the main opposition, CPN-UML, has remained adamant with its demand for the formation of a high-level committee to probe into the gold smuggling scandal. As issues concerning the general public has remained unaddressed, ruling party's Speaker and the President have all urged the opposition to lift the obstructions. Good evening, I'm Chitrakar and these are the headlines of the hour. President Ramchandra Paudel urges CPN-UML Chair Oli to allow resumption of the Parliament. Today's meeting comes few days after Speaker Devraj Khimire met the President to address the issue of the Parliament obstructions. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal officially announces the campaign to include those working in the informal sector and self-employed in the Social Security Programme. Thailand's Constitutional Court rejects a request from the election-winning Move Forward party to review a parliamentary decision that blocked its prime ministerial candidate from being re-nominated. And England through to the final of the FIFA Women's World Cup for the first time after defeating co-host Australia 3-1 to see Spain in the final slated for Sunday. Chairperson of the main opposition, CPN-UML, KP Sharma Oli, has held talks with President Ramchandra Paudel. Political advisor of the President, Kiran Pokhrel, said that the discussion held at Sheetal Nivas delved on addressing obstructions at the Parliament and contemporary political issues. President Paudel drew Oli's attention towards ending Parliament obstructions, citing its negative impact on the public. The President suggested all parties to contribute in creating a conducive environment. Meanwhile, Oli had expressed concerns regarding the President's health during the dialogue. Speaker Devraj Khimire had met the President a few days ago and had urged him to make efforts to resolve the obstructions at the Parliament. The ruling coalition has held talks regarding clearing obstructions of the opposition at the Federal Parliament. Today's meeting of the leaders of the coalition held at Balatar has decided to expedite discussions with all parties of the Parliament, including CPN-UML, on clearing obstructions and resuming operation of the Parliament. The meeting was attended by Nepali Congress President Sher Bahadur Deuba and CPN Unified Socialist Chairperson Madhav Kumar Nepal, among others, with the demand of the formation of a high-level committee to probe into the gold smuggling case. CPN-UML has been obstructing the Parliament from the 26th of July. Koshi Province Chief Minister Uddhav Thapa has expanded the Province Council of Ministers for the second time. The ruling coalition had recommended Province Assembly member of Nepali Congress Gyananda Mandal as the State Minister for Industry, Agriculture and Cooperatives. Chief Minister Thapa appointed Mandal as the State Minister today and administered his oath of office and secrecy. Senior-most member of the Province Assembly, 80-year-old Mandal, was elected from Morang Electoral Constituency 5A. Chief Minister Thapa appointed Mandal as the State Minister with the objective of generating a vote of confidence. Senior-most member Mandal was appointed the State Minister after it appeared that main opposition CPN-UML would have the Deputy Province Assembly Speaker elected from its party resign from the post to create hurdles for the trust vote. If Mandal was not appointed the State Minister and given a place in the Province Council of Ministers, a resignation from the Deputy Speaker would have required him to chair the Province Assembly. In such a situation, he would not have been able to vote during the process of generating vote of confidence, meaning Chief Minister Thapa would not have been able to receive the trust vote. Thapa was appointed the Chief Minister on the 1st of August following resignation of Province Assembly Speaker Baburam Gautam of CPN Maoist Centre. Gautam was later appointed the Minister for Financial Affairs and Planning. In the 93-member Koshi Province Assembly, the ruling coalition had generated a majority of 47 members following Gautam's resignation. The next meeting of the Province Assembly has been called for 1 p.m. on the 18th of August. Chief Minister Thapa is making preparations to generate a vote of confidence in the meeting. Following the resignation of Province Assembly Speaker, the meeting of the Province Assembly will have to be operated by Deputy Speaker Srijanath Tanuwar. The government has kicked off its campaign of including those in the informal sector and the self-employed population in the Social Security Program. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal officially announced of the campaign at an event in the capital today. The government had approved of the methods to include workers in the informal sector from some 9 months ago, which was implemented from the start of the Nepalese month of Baisakh this year. The official announcements, however, was delayed, citing inadequate preparations. Some 5.8 million more people are expected to be included in the Social Security Program through this campaign. Workers of the informal sector willing to be a part of the Social Security Fund should contribute 1,912 rupees on a monthly basis, which is 20.37% of their basic salary. Likewise, self-employed individuals can be included in the fund by contributing 2,909 rupees every month. The fund, which was implemented since Nepalese year 2075, has so far incorporated 710,000 workers from over 18,000 organizations. Since around 4 months, the government has also begun including in the program those abroad for foreign employment. The fund has collected 40 billion rupees so far, and the new addition of workers in the informal sector is expected to contribute over 2 billion rupees more on an annual basis. Those who enroll in the fund will receive financial support for medical purposes, accidents, disabilities and pension, among others. Interested applicants will need a recommendation letter from their local levels. The Millennium Challenge Corporation Nepal Committee has begun the process for acquisition of land in Palpa district for the construction of 400 kilovolt transmission line. This includes lands between the new Butwal substation and a new Damauli substation. According to District Administration Office Palpa, lands in Nisti Rural Municipality, Ward number 5, 6 and 7 and Rampur Municipality, Ward number 1, 2, 3 and 4 will be acquired for the project. 74 pole towers for the transmission line will be installed in Palpa, and a total of 146 plots of lands owned by the government and private individuals will be acquired for it. Nepal had signed the American Assistance Program some 5 years ago. After years of debate and criticism, the Federal Parliament had endorsed the program in February last year. Government spokesperson and Minister for Communications and Information Technology Rekha Sharma has said that the government is working with the objective of concluding corruption cases. Addressing a press meet held in Khorahi of Tang, Minister Sharma said that good governance has not been ensured in the country because of the mistakes of past state operators. She further went on to add that the government was proceeding in a strict manner to put an end to corruption. Minister Sharma also said that the government would leave no stones unturned to investigate and ensure legal proceedings against anyone from any political party. 20 people have been injured after several vehicles collided in the Tikauli forest of Bharatpur Metropolis, Ward number 9 in Chitwan. A college bus, a four-wheeler carrying a dead body and 6 two-wheelers collided at 11:30 a.m. this morning in the Tikauli forest, which left 20 individuals injured. According to District Police Office Chitwan, those injured are undergoing treatment at Bharatpur Hospital, Chitwan Medical College and the College of Medical Sciences. Police have added that 7 of those injured are in a serious condition. The government has eased the provisions for issuing the initial public offering or the IPOs. The Council of Ministers has endorsed the 7th Amendment of the Securities Registration and Issue Regulations. With the endorsement of the amendment, companies with more than 1 billion rupees in capital can issue shares immediately after converting to public limited company. Prior to this, such companies were required to wait for the period of 1 fiscal year to issue their IPO in premium. However, they will now be able to issue IPO within 1 year. The mandatory provision requiring to generate profit for 3 successive years has also been amended. Meanwhile, companies with 10 years or less of operation remaining have been prohibited from issuing shares. Manufacturing industries with more than 1 billion rupees in capital can issue IPO in premium after assessing their profits over 2 fiscal years. Time now for our segment, Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse, brought to you by Prabhu Bank, risen for your success. Sundarta ka lagi Rose Face Soap. Rees College of Engineering and Management, Balkumari, Lalitpur. Uniglobe SS and College, Kamladi, Kathmandu.
Here's the question. What is the reason for the delay in reaching labour agreement with destination nations of Nepali migrant workers? Your options are A. Hesitation from destination nations, B. Inadequate diplomatic effort, and C. Ignoring workers' plights. Voting is on. Type any WS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Time now for international update. Thailand's Constitutional Court has rejected a request from the election-winning Move Forward party to review a parliamentary decision that blocked its prime ministerial candidate from being re-nominated. The move on Wednesday all but kills off any hope of the Progressive Party leading the next government and paves the way for the legislature to hold a vote on another candidate for Prime Minister as soon as this week. Thailand has been under a caretaker government for 5 months. Its biggest parties in parliament have been unable to form a government after Pita Limjaro Enrat, leader of the anti-establishment Move Forward, was rejected as Prime Minister by legislators allied with the royalist military. In its decision, the court said it declined to accept the case because it was lodged by a group of more than 20 individuals that did not include the prime ministerial candidate himself. Court said that their rights were not violated and they did not have the rights to file the complaint of the petitioners in what was a unanimous decision. Arab foreign ministers met in Cairo to discuss steps Syria must take to reinstate ties with the Arab world. Foreign ministers from Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Jordan, Syria and Egypt met in Cairo yesterday to offer suggestions and ideas related to humanitarian issues, aid delivery and the return of refugees to Syria. Syria and its president Bashar al-Assad had been widely isolated over his crackdown on demonstrations that erupted against him in 2011, but the deadly earthquake that hit Syria and Turkey in February fast-tracked a resumption of ties with the Arab world. Syria's economy is in dire straits following the collapse of the local currency to all-time lows, tightening sanctions, the financial meltdown of neighboring Lebanon, and the loss of many of its oil-producing regions in the northeast. The Speaker of Indonesia's Upper House of Parliament said earlier today it was important for the country to discuss the means to delay elections in times of natural disasters, wars or pandemics. Indonesia, the world's third largest democracy, must hold national elections every 5 years, with the next vote scheduled for February 14. The country currently has no framework to delay an election, and some politicians have called for the constitution to be amended to allow a postponement. Bambang Soesatyo, the Upper House Speaker, said in an annual address ahead of Indonesia's Independence Day that the People's Consultative Assembly should be returned as the highest government body in the event of a delay. President Joko Widodo, dressed in a traditional outfit from the Tanimbar Islands, later made his annual State of the Union address. The idea of delaying national elections has been a thorny issue in Indonesia, where there has been on-off speculation that moves were afoot to try to postpone the polls to allow President Joko Widodo to stay in power beyond his second term ending next year. Niger's junta appointed Prime Minister Lamine Zain was in Chad earlier yesterday for his first visit to a foreign state on behalf of the military council that seized power in a military coup last month. Western powers and democratic African governments have called for the coup leaders to reinstate ousted President Mohamed Bazoum, who they have detained since July 26, but the military leaders have refused and rejected attempts at a negotiation. Zain, whom military leaders appointed Prime Minister early last week, met with Chad's President Mahamat Deby, who staged his own coup in 2021. Deby visited Niger in a mediation role shortly after the last month's coup, West Africa's 7th in 3 years. Echoing statements made by Niger's military earlier that day, Zain said that Niger was open to talks to resolve the regional crisis stemming from their rise to power, but stressed that the country maintaining independence necessitated any dialogue. According to the U.S. Federal Emergency Management Agency, identifying the victims of the devastating wildfires on Hawaii's Maui Island will be very difficult because many of the remains have been badly damaged. According to Hawaii Governor Josh Green, at least 101 people were killed in Maui's wildfire, making it the deadliest U.S. wildfire in more than a century. With only 32% of the burn area surged, officials worry the death toll will climb. Green said on Monday that the death toll from the wildfires is expected to rise between 200 and 300 in the next 10 days, and the search operations may last several weeks or even a month. Local authorities have begun the identification of remains. The American Red Cross said it had received more than 2,500 phone calls asking for information about their missing families. Some people even posted messages on social media to find the whereabouts of their loved ones. Local police has encouraged the family members of the victims to provide DNA samples to speed up the identification process. Meanwhile, the Hawaii State Department of Health warned the smoke and ash from burning buildings contain toxic and harmful chemicals which will pollute local air and water, thus posing long-term risk to human health. In the early 20th century, herbicides with arsenic elements were widely used in the sugarcane and pineapple fields in Hawaii. After the fire burned, these arsenic elements may adhere to the dust and enter the atmosphere and then return to the ground through rainfall and penetrate the local water sources. Local residents who are exposed to toxic arsenic compounds without protection may have their digestive and nervous systems impaired and have a higher risk of cancer. The local government said the recommended measures will remain in effect until water quality test results return to normal. Before wrapping up, here's a look at the top stories once again. President Ramchandra Paudel urges CPN-UML chair only to allow resumption of the parliament. Today's meeting comes few days after Speaker Devraj Khimire met the president to address the issue of the parliament obstructions. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal officially announces the campaign to include those working in the informal sector and self-employed in the Social Security program. Thailand's Constitutional Court rejects a request from the election-winning Move Forward party to review a parliamentary decision that blocked its prime ministerial candidate from being re-nominated. And England through to the final of the FIFA Women's World Cup for the first time after defeating co-host Australia 3-1 to see Spain in the final slated for Sunday. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.